How you doing, guys, and welcome back to the channel for my first post-surgery video. So it's now Sunday afternoon, as you can see. Sorry about the lighting, I know I'm a bit dull, but it's a bit better than staring at the brick wall that's behind the camera. It's been 3 days since I had my surgery. Surgery was on Thursday afternoon, and today I just wanted to tell you a bit about the day of the surgery, going in there, what it was like, what we sort of went through in hospital, waking up, and then of course what it's been like for the last couple of days up until now. So the surgery, I got admitted to the hospital in the afternoon. So my dad dropped me off, and the reason he had to drop me off was because due to the COVID pandemic, there was no visitors allowed in the hospital. So effectively I got out of the car at the front door, made my way to reception, filled out some forms, and then went into a waiting room. Long story short, there's several more forms, several waiting rooms later. Some of the more interesting bits was a visit and a meeting with the anaesthetist, where he told me about the drugs they're going to use, and post-surgery sort of pain management, what he recommends, and the frequency and how to deal with it. And then also they shaved my knee in preparation for the surgery and gave it a good wash and clean to make sure there was no risk of infection. Several waiting rooms later, and telling staff my name and date of birth about 1,000,000 times later, I found myself in the waiting room outside the operating theatres. So I was there for about 15 minutes, and I think during that time, I started to feel a little nervous. I can't remember the last time I had an operation. Apparently I was really little, so I haven't been under general anaesthetic before. So I didn't really know what to expect. But like I said before, I had faith in the surgeon and knew that it was all a pretty routine procedure, so it was going to be okay. So the time came, they rolled up, wheeled me into the operating theatre, put me onto the table, which was really quite narrow, by the way, but they had like little armrests on the side, and then they went ahead and they put the IV connection into my arm for the anaesthetic. I was expecting perhaps some sort of notice, a count to 10 and you only get to 3. You hear all the stories, but none of that happened, and the next thing I know, I woke up in my ward. So I don't remember them sort of doing any other preparation, and it was only a short time after they put that in my arm that I was knocked out cold. I got a little clip for you when I woke up. I'll just share that with you now. What's up, guys? Just come out of the surgery. Just come out of the sleep from the surgery. My knee and leg still looks like it's all there. It's a good start, but it is like a numb, but kind of like a numb pain feeling. Can still move my toes, which they said to do to help with blood clots. Hooked up to all the equipment, and just waiting to hear back from the nurse on what the next steps are. So as you could see, I was pretty groggy, pretty spaced out. My leg was pretty numb. Like I said, I could feel my toes, wiggle my toes, but it wasn't sore at all. Obviously, I was still full of drugs. The nurses had come by and delivered the food that I ordered for dinner, but with the anesthetics and all the drugs still in me, and having just woken up, I didn't have an appetite. And in fact, I didn't end up eating until the next morning at about, I think it was 3 o'clock, where I had a slice of toast, Vegemite toast. So it was a long night. The nurses came in frequently, checking temperature, checking blood pressure. They had a little green button for you to press, which was a self-managed pain, which released morphine. Like I said in the first video, I'm not a big fan of taking drugs that I don't need to, and the pain wasn't unbearable. The nurses, as well as coming in doing their checks, would give me different sorts of drugs like tablets, and I was okay with pain management using that rather than needing the actual morphine. So the night went through, I had a few doses in and out, and then the next morning after a bit of food, started feeling a little bit better, feeling a little more alert, and over time, a few more doses, the doctor came in and saw me. He said that the procedure went as expected. There was no need to repair anything else in my knee. There was no complications, straightforward standard ACL reconstruction. Following that, the pharmacy assistant for the hospital came in and she dropped off my medication to take home with me, which consisted of some anti-inflammatories, some paracetamol type drugs, some sachets to help with constipation because apparently the heavier drugs can block you up, some Polexia like I mentioned before, and then some endone as well. And basically said if the paracetamol's not working, you take the Polexia. If that's not working, then you take the endone, depending on how severe your pain is. So finished up the visit with her, and then after that the physio for the hospital came through and spoke to me about some exercises to be doing at home over the next 2-week period, because after that 2 weeks I've got another appointment with the surgeon as a follow-up, and I've also set an appointment with my own physio who initially referred me to the surgeon. So as you can see, I got my crutches here, I've got my knee brace on with my sexy compression stockings to help prevent any blood clots. And the first few days has been a lot of just sitting on the couch with the foot up, limping around the house on crutches. I've been trying to, based on what the physio said, have a little bit of weight on the foot rather than just sort of having it raised and swinging while using the crutches. So it's getting some weight, and obviously as it gets stronger you can, support yourself less and less with your arms and put more and more weight on your foot, which will come with time and as I rebuild strength through the exercises. But it's been okay. Sleeping's been a bit tough. I usually sleep on my side, but with the leg as it is, if it's not properly supported, any kind of bending, either in the knee or any sort of twisting is quite painful. So I've found it's a lot easier just to be sleeping on my back, which is a little less comfortable, but I've still been pretty tired, so it's been okay. Showering has been a bit of a challenge. So you have to have the whole brace covered in a plastic bag, tied both ends with tape to prevent water getting in. And doing that at home has been challenging. Obviously some help with mum and dad, and it just takes longer, that's all. The worst part about it is taking the tape off. While they shave my knee, all the hair above the edge of the brace where they actually tape it rips out every time that you got to take the tape off. So the physio gave me 4 exercises to be doing for the first 2 weeks. I'll talk you through them briefly now and then cover them again in a later video. The first exercise is simply, not sure if you can see, just flexing your heel up and down. This gets your calf working a bit, gets some flexibility in your heel, helps to prevent blood clots, etc., etc. So doing a bunch of them. The next exercise is tensing your quads. So you sit there, tense your quad, and then hold it for 5 seconds, and then let go, and do several sets of that. The third exercise is leg raises. So tilting your toes back towards you as you can, tensing your leg, and then lifting it up, holding it for a second, and then back down, and repeating that. And then the last exercise, which I can't do right now, is heel slides. I can't do that because of the brace, but showing you with my other leg, you lay flat on your back and you're effectively just pulling your heel up with your hamstring. I can only get it to about there and then putting it back down. So over time that'll get a bit more flexible, it'll get a bit stronger. I've still got all the bandages and taping and everything around the knee, which is restricting the movement a bit as well. But obviously you have to take the brace off to do that. So when I first started the exercises, the one that hurt most was the tensing of the quads. So when I did that, that was really quite painful in and around, obviously, the knee. And then because of the order I do them, following that, when you have to do the leg raises, you're also tensing there, and that was a bit painful as well. It's now been a few days, and the tensing of the quads is still slightly uncomfortable, but not as bad. And I'm finding the exercises to be a bit easier. So hopefully over the next 2 weeks between now and when I go and see the surgeon and the physio again, that they'll get easier and easier. But I'll have another update for you soon. So I'm still feeling a bit of pain around the outside, around the knee in general, and also where they took out the hamstrings on the inside there. There's several movements that it's a bit sore, and like I said, during the exercises it's a bit sore. I've been keeping in touch with my mate who I said was having the surgery on the same day, and he's basically saying the same thing, that the exercises are a bit sore. He was saying it was really quite painful for him up the sides where the hamstrings were taken out. Not so bad for me, but he also agreed as well that any sort of rotation or if it's not supported horizontally while you're laying down, etc., that it hurts. So that sounds like it's all pretty normal, and with time it's going to get better. In terms of the tablets and pain relief for myself, I've only been taking the anti-inflammatory and the paracetamol tablets. I haven't needed to take the Plexia or the Endone yet, and part of that, like I say, I don't like taking tablets if I don't need to, and I don't like the way I felt after those tablets. I felt quite sick on the drive home from the hospital after Dad collected me. So I sort of said to myself, if I can put up with the pain, which again isn't as bad as I was expecting, it might still go up as it swells a little bit more, I'm not quite sure, but for now it's definitely manageable for me with just the paracetamol and the anti-inflammatories, and we'll see how we go moving forwards. Alright guys, well I'm going to leave it there and go and enjoy the rest of this beautiful afternoon. So take care, look after yourselves, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.